در یک کنفرانس مطبوعاتی در نیویورک، قاضی مایکل موکیزی، وزیر دادگستری آمریکا در دوران ریاست جمهوری جورج بوش و هاواردین، رئیس حزب دموکرات و کاندیدای ریاست جمهوری آمریکا در سال 2004 بر ضرورت خارج کردن نام سازمان مجاهدین خلق ایران از لیست وزارت خارجه آمریکا و تضمین حفاظت اشرف تأکید کردند. سخنرانان ضمن انتقاد از بیعملی دولت آمریکا حاتمشان کردند که کشتار ساکنان اشرف توسط نیروهای مالکی یک نقض فاحش حقوق بین المللی است که آمران و عاملان آن باید در برابر دادگاه بین المللی جنایی قرار گرفته خود باشند.
I think it's useful to start the history back in the 1990s when the MEK was first placed on the State Department's list of foreign terrorist organizations. That happened under the Clinton administration, and I think by all accounts it was and it's described by people on the inside, people on the outside, as a well-intentioned attempt to start a dialogue to engage with the Iranians, with the mullahs, and apparently, so I'm told, they let it be known that if this were done, that would somehow lead to better relations. Well, of course, it hasn't. It didn't. The listing was continued in the administration in which I served, in large measure because it was feared that if the MEK were taken off the list when the time was up, that they would do things like send IEDs into Iraq to be used against American troops, to kill American troops. And of course, they were not removed from the list, and MEK was not removed from the list, and of course the Iranians were sending in IEDs anyway. The Iraqi government recently, that is recently within the last couple of years, has adopted a very aggressive and negative position toward the MEK, largely because it has fallen increasingly under the sway of Iran, its next-door neighbor. In a sense, that's not surprising, but it is distressing. Both in 2009 and April of 2011, at the very time that the Secretary of Defense, our Secretary of Defense, was in country, when the United States had spent billions in blood and treasure to free that country, they used American equipment and American trained troops to attack residents of a camp of MEK members and supporters located within Iraq. These were people who had surrendered their weapons to the Americans when we invaded Iraq in 2003 on the promise, on the guarantee, in writing from a U.S. general that they would be treated as protected persons under the Fourth Geneva Convention. And there's just no excuse for that. There is absolutely no evidence whatsoever that that the MEK is a terrorist organization. That has been said by the director of the FBI, who had access to all the intelligence that was available at the time that he served as the director. It was said by John Bolton, who was in addition to having been an ambassador to the United Nations, when he was at the State Department, had a particular fascination with reading raw intelligence, and he read it by the ream, spotted nothing in there that indicated that MEK was a terrorist organization. Tom Ridge, former Secretary of Homeland Security, not a terrorist organization. There is two chairmen of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, two former directors of the CIA, people on all sides of the political spectrum, from John Bolton on one side to my friend Howard Dean over here on the other. And we all agree that for substantive reasons, for reasons of reality, this organization should be taken off the list of foreign terrorist organizations, a listing that really is used by the Iraqis to justify their attacks, and is a convenient excuse for the Iranians. In essence, there are really